My name is Steve Layton, and I travel the world finding amazing and delicious coffee for you to drink at home. Some make coffee difficult to understand and complicated, but here it's my job to make it easy and fun and tell you what's in my mug. Hello everybody, welcome to In My Mug, episode 410. I'm your host Stephen Layton, and I am here to make coffee easy apparently, so I better try and do that. But before I tell you about coffee, time for news. This week I am flying to New York to do a Tamper Tantrum. We are going to be doing a live Tamper Tantrum there. We're very excited about it. It's going to be a big deal. We've sold lots of tickets, lots of great sponsors. Go check out tampertantrum.com for lots of information about that. Go watch some of the talks as well. They're always fun. Speaking of Tamper Tantrum, I did a Tamper Tantrum, and I told you about this on In My Mug before, on Bolivia while I was there. I've posted that on Hasblog, so go check out Hasblog. It is sitting there for your delectation and delight. And I think that's the news. So let's get into the coffee. Let's taste the filter coffee. So this is a natural coffee from the birthplace of coffee, which is Ethiopia. It's from the Guji zone. And by a guy called Israel that I will tell you some more about later. The filter coffee, now it is a natural, but it is a super duper weird natural for me, because as always it's a very clean natural, say that a lot, but it tastes lots of Parma violets, the little violety sweets that you can get, and I used to love as a kid. When I cup this and when I drink it, all I can think of is Parma violets. And in the filter coffee, it's probably its best incarnation of it. Just Parma Violet Fest. I said it's from Yirgacheffe in the Guji zone, so why don't we go to the map bit and actually have a look at exactly where it's from. Map bit time. We like the map bit. We like to go down as well instead of across. This doesn't happen as often as it does going the other way. So going to Africa is always exciting. And it's very exciting to go down to Ethiopia. So there we see Addis Ababa in the heart of the country, which is the capital. And here we've got a fact, is Ethiopia is one of the oldest nations in the world, having been founded in 980 before Christ. So very old, nearly as old as Roland. But let's get down to the farm. So Sora is here. You can see the farmhouse, you can see the mill, you can see the whole kind of area where all of the coffee stuff happens. Lots of new coffee being planted around this farm. Here we can see the drying beds, and this is the natural coffee drying. This is the people on the farm kind of working, doing their thing. Here they've got like a really weird process where they run the rakes through the water and they kind of sing as they do it. It kind of like have a rhythm, so it's all done at the same time. So you can see here why it gets so high. You know, we really are on the top of the world here. The highest point of Ethiopia though is 4,533 metres, Ras Dijen, and the lowest point is Dankil Depression, which is below sea level at -125. But this amazing mountainous region, like producing this amazing coffee, Ethiopia, and particularly the Guji zone in Yirgacheffe, is one of my favourites. Just so much quality coffee coming out of there, this being no different. And that was this week's map bit. So the farm is owned by a guy called Israel. I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname, but I am going to try now, aren't I? I'm not going to try, but now I'm going to try Degra. I've probably got that terribly wrong. And Israel is a generation, like kind of a new generation of coffee growers, where you have a direct producer owning the farms and the mills. He also owns a few cherry collecting stations, but this comes from one of his farms. He's a bit of an entrepreneur. He's building a hotel in Sidamo in Ethiopia partly because it's needed, but also he sees lots of coffee buyers come in and actually nowhere for them to stop. I know some of the times I've stopped in Ethiopia, the accommodation, I can sleep pretty much anywhere, but I do like to sleep in a clean bed. Last time I went, I just took a sleeping bag with me, and slept in a sleeping bag for the whole time, purely because the bedding and the bed linen was it wasn't clean and it wasn't hygienic, and it's a super easy place to get sick. So he's trying to kind of get round that with a lot of these buyers coming by building his own hotel. He sees these opportunities and he goes for them. Super well travelled man. Last week he was in the coffee shop that I'm part owner of in Stockholm, Drop Coffee, and he was there doing a presentation on the coffee. He's selling to a lot of different buyers in Europe and the US, but this is the first time ever we've done a direct trade with somebody, and I've used direct trade in inverted commas because although we agreed a price with Israel and we selected the coffee from many coffees that he had, we still used an exporter to get that coffee out and help us with the logistics of moving it, because Ethiopia is a nightmare place to buy coffee. It really is. Before we get really into the farm and stuff, maybe we should go and do the farm fact file. Welcome to this week's fact file. Fact filing on the continent of Africa, but more importantly the country of Ethiopia. So let's get down to some detail. So Ethiopia, 400,000 hectares are devoted to coffee, which 150 hectares of this coffee is dedicated to. They are the 7th biggest producer of coffee in the world. It's a massive part of their export. Produce around 6.5 million bags a year, which is around about 390,000 metric tons. Common varietals, it's Arabica. It's kind of like heirloom varietals. There really is no detail. Lots of these varietals developed over time. There are around about 700,000 coffee smallholders in Ethiopia, which is phenomenal. We have 18 farms that we've worked with in the past couple of years in Ethiopia. So that's washing stations, farms, farmers. But this one is Sora. It is a wild varietal heirloom. It's a natural process from the Guji zone. Nearest town is Yirgachev. Farm is 250 hectares, of which 150 is coffee, and the altitude is 1,900 to 2,350. I'm back. I'm going to go straight into the espresso. So I love naturals as espresso, and I certainly love them with milk, and this is no different. So the Parma Violet in this one is kind of bigger. I'm actually getting much more of that kind of floral, kind of sweet kind of flavours come through. But what I'm also getting is kind of like a blueberry juice. Not like blueberries, like blueberry juice, that kind of processed juice flavour to it that really comes through. It is an excellent coffee. The farm Sora is around about 250 hectares, of which currently 150 hectares are planted as coffee. It is only natural processing on the farm at the moment. This is because Israel doesn't really have access to a water source yet. That is part of the next part of the plan. He's also got 100 hectares that he's still planting and waiting to come into production. But in a couple of years' time, that should be there as well. Altitude is crazy on this farm. It is like 1,750 up to about 2,350, which is just obscenely high. And what Israel is doing is he's not just looking after himself, he's trying to educate farmers in the area, kind of make them grow, make them do more with the coffees that they have, helping them with cherry selection, helping them with processing. So he doesn't see just his job of looking after his own farm, but he also wants to look after other people's farms. We should go to Roland's Daft Fact of the Week. Ethiopia is around about 8 years behind the United Kingdom. This is because Ethiopia is the only country in the world to have 13 months in a year and celebrate their new year in September, meaning that they're only a couple of months into the year 2008. I love it when Roland comes up with facts. It's very, very good. I hope you're enjoying this week's coffee. I'm really enjoying it. I love that we've been able to get that link to the producer purely bought on the cupping table. We cupped a heap of different farmers' coffees, but this one jumped out to me as something really, really unique. The milk definitely still helps that flavour come through as well. You don't get so much of the Parma Violets, but you definitely get that blueberry kicking through. Next week's exciting. I'm going to be in New York, as I said, via Stockholm. So I'll be recording in my mug at one of them. You will see me popping up. It's also an old favourite coming back, the Costa Rican from Finca Arbar, which can't wait to be sharing that one with you. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.